Hello there, welcome to my channel. Today I am joined with my friend Emma, my best friend from high school, and we are going to talk about the coronavirus as we've experienced it here in Korea. Okay, so the coronavirus started in Wuhan somewhere in December, in Wuhan, China, and then it spread to Korea on, I believe, January 20th. And right after that was Lunar New Year. Do you remember when that was?
Like the last weekend of January.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first case in Korea was on January 20th, and that was right before Lunar New Year, which is a pretty important holiday here in Asia. And so because of that, a lot of Chinese residents went back to China to celebrate with their families for the holiday.
But also like within China, people travel a lot. So even like people from Wuhan would travel to other parts, and people from other parts would travel to Wuhan. So there's a lot of
people started to get very stressed, but the cases were very few. There were about 20 cases, 25 cases. In a few days, there would be no new cases. That all changed when patient 31 got sick. She was a patient who was in Daegu, which is near Busan in the south of Korea. And she went to the hospital for, I believe she had a car accident, some sort of an accident. And that's why she went to the hospital. But she had some sort of symptoms, and allegedly she refused to get tested. And after she refused to get tested, she went to church, went to supermarkets, and basically spread the virus all over Daegu. And that's why there are so many cases now in Daegu and in Korea in general, because she was the first super spreader who really made everything a lot worse here.
Yeah, it's not just her. Like she made a lot of people sick, but because she didn't know she was sick, the people she was in contact with didn't know they were sick, so they would also spread it to other people. So there's nearly 3,000 cases in Korea right now, and over half of them are in just the city Daegu.
Yeah, and Daegu is now, it's not fully quarantined, but people are asked to stay inside. People are asked to not travel to or from Daegu.
I even heard that it's not possible to go inside the city or leave the city unless there's a specific reason.
And also a lot of countries now have a travel ban for people who have been to Daegu for the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I believe.
I think it's even like just generally South Korea. If you've been to South Korea,
it depends on the.
It depends on the that's true.
Yeah.
But there's certain countries that even if it's just a transfer in Korea, then you have to quarantine yourself for 14 days after arriving in like the next country.
That's basically the background of what happened with the coronavirus, and we will now talk about more specific subjects. And my friend Emma, she goes to language school right now, so.
Yeah, well, not right now.
Well, not right now.
Technically not right now. No, we noticed a very big difference. For example, the week after Lunar New Year, we suddenly heard that the whole week was cancelled. So we were supposed to only have the Monday off. And then on Monday, we received an email from the school and text messages from our teachers saying that, the whole week's been cancelled because of the virus. So we can like control the situation a little bit more. So just to be sure everybody has to stay home. So that was the first thing. And then during that week, we got more instructions. For example, we had to wear masks when we go to class. We had to disinfect our hands all the time. If you'd been to China, or if your roommates had been to China or other specific countries, you were not allowed to come to school. So we noticed a very big difference when we did go back to school, that half the school was empty, because there's a lot of Chinese students in Korea studying Korean language. I think it's almost 50%. So almost all of them could not come back to school. So the classes were very empty, the hallways were very empty, the teachers were a little bit stressed, and everybody was wearing masks. It was a very strange situation. And then our semester was supposed to last until February 17th, and then it was shortened because of the virus. And then our exams got cancelled because of the virus. So like there were a lot of things happening, and the school tried to accommodate as much as possible and like help the students that did come back to school, but also help the students that were not allowed to come back to school to still pass on to the next level, still to graduate, things like this. So there was
how did they do that? What was the policy?
The policy how they changed is, instead of taking your final exams, if your midterms had been good enough, then you were allowed to pass the next class.
Here in Korea, they all the other schools are usually closed until March 1st.
Yeah,
March
so like the first Monday of March.
The first Monday of March. So the only schools that were open during the time when the virus first hit were the language schools, because everything else, like the elementary schools, high schools, universities, they were all closed. And so what happened with the universities, at least I know from my friends who are in Sukang University, which is in Seoul, they postponed the opening for 2 weeks. Since the Daegu outbreak happened, all the schools are now closed until the 9th. Even the kindergartens, everything is now closed until the 9th of March.
March, yes.
So another thing that happened is that in Korea the academic year starts in March.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first semester, and usually that's when you have all the graduation ceremonies and all the opening ceremonies. They were all canceled, so anyone who got their diploma, they just received it through the mail, I think.
No, they did go back, or at least what I saw in my school, like our graduation ceremony was also cancelled for like all the levels. So we just got our diploma in the classroom, and that was it. There was no other ceremony. But
that was language school.
That was language school. No, but what I noticed from other, like the people that were supposed to have a graduation ceremony, they did wear the blue robes and did take pictures, but there was not like one big group picture, and there was not an actual ceremony. So people did wear the robes and took pictures with their diploma, but there was no ceremony. There was no big group picture with like all the graduates, and so it was just a lot smaller.
Yeah. So another thing with the academic year starting in March instead of with a lot of Western countries it would start in September, is that there are a lot of foreign teachers in Korea. Most of them teach English, and so they all have either contract renewal or go to different school right now. And so this would be the season, this would be the month where they would all have to go to the immigration office to renew their visa. But because of the virus, the government has said that anyone with a valid visa whose visa is expiring around this time has been automatically extended until the 30th to minimize the amount of travel that people have to do.
30th of April.
30th of April is right. Apart from the schools being closed, another big thing that you obviously notice is when you go out in public is that a lot of restaurants are closed. Any pretty much non-essential store is closed. So, places that were manicure places or just flower shops, all this stuff are just completely closed down right now.
Well, the biggest difference is everybody's wearing a mask.
Everybody's wearing a mask,
and everybody's constantly like disinfecting their hands, and like you have like the disinfecting of like
pumps,
pumps and bottles everywhere. People have them in their handbags, and like everywhere. In all the buses have them.
All the buses.
So when you leave the bus, there's like a pump like right at the exit, so you can use it. So that's like the biggest thing. As soon as you leave the house, you see people with like masks, and there's like no exception.
Yeah, there's always been people wearing masks in Korea because of the air quality.
Or just generally like, I'm not wearing makeup today.
Yeah,
putting on a mask.
Makeup or have a nose cold or a nose job.
Yeah, exactly. Like the little secrets that we're hiding. So there's always people around, but now it's everybody.
Yes. And when the virus first started, you notice that the first week, I noticed that a lot of people were wearing them, but because there was no new cases, people were starting to calm down about it, and people started to take them off. But now with the whole Daegu outbreak, everyone is wearing them.
And like you get stared at if you don't wear them.
Yeah, you get stared at.
And like if you're in the subway and you're not wearing it, and there's a seat next to you, people will not sit next to you because they're afraid of, oh, she's not wearing a mask.
She might be sick.
Yeah, exactly.
And also if you cough in public, it's just
people
it's funny.
Stare at you.
They will stare at you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit paranoid, but at the same time, they're being just very extra cautious, and I think that's better than just ignoring everything and just not going out with a mask. Because if you are sick and you use a mask, then you cannot infect people. Like it's very hard to infect people. Yeah. So it's actually for like the public's interest that everybody's wearing a mask, and it's kind of selfish to not wear a mask.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing I actually noticed. I went to Gyeongbokgung Palace, which is one of the biggest palaces in Seoul. And all the guards, all the actors, they were all wearing these huge masks.
But now it's closed. Like they're no longer doing it. Like there's a change with the guard ceremony at Gyeongbokgung, and they're no longer doing the ceremony now. Because like after the ceremony, the guards will stay there so you can take pictures with them. Which is like a lot of tourists go there specifically during those hours when they do the change. And now they've decided to like just completely stop the ceremony.
Yeah, when I went there were also actually pumps right in front of all the exits and entrances for all those tourist places as well. So the palaces have that, and museums. Well, most of the museums are closed now. That's another thing, is that they closed down a lot of public places where people would gather. So museums are closed. There are certain cinemas that are closed. There are ice rinks are closed, swimming pools are closed, all of those different public places are closed now.
Even some churches.
Even, yeah.
Yes. I know there are certain churches that still have service that you can go to, but a lot of people don't. And I know that there's some churches that do it like online right now. They like stream their service so people can stay at home and still like attend church.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they're really trying so
to
they contain the outbreak. Yeah.
Yeah, and also because the Daegu outbreak, a lot of that happened in the church.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who were infected because they went to the same church as patient number 31 did. So that's why a lot of people are trying to stay at home and not go to church anymore. So one of the things that, like I mentioned before, is that a lot of non-essential stores are closed, and the ones that aren't closed don't really get a lot of customers. For example, I went to the cinema a few days ago and I was literally the only customer they had. So because of that, obviously a lot of these businesses run into trouble of not having enough revenue. So the government has now decided to tell all the banks to lower the rent of the spaces so that even small business owners don't all just lose their jobs because of this virus. And the next subject is hospitals. So we both went to hospitals for not the coronavirus, but just for normal standing appointments. And currently I went to Yonsei Severin Hospital, which is the university hospital, and you went to KoreanAir?
Yes. I have a university hospital.
And so both pretty big hospitals, relatively speaking. And the way they've been dealing with it, at least in Yonsei University, is in front of every exit and entrance, you have these doctors standing there with full masks, full bodysuits, who will disinfect your hands. They will take your temperature, and you will get this little questionnaire asking you if you've been to China, if you've been to Daegu, if you have any symptoms. And if you don't have any symptoms, you get this nice little sticker put on you, and then you can go inside. But obviously, you do have to wear a mask at all times when you're in the hospital.
Yeah, my experience was like very similar, a little bit different. What I noticed is that they closed off most of the entrances and exits. So there were only 3 entrances in total where you can go through. And there were like outside there were tents where you had to fill in like a little questionnaire with like your name, your phone number, which country you're from, if you've been to China. If you had any fever right now, and then like sign that that the information was true, and then you take that little paper and then you go inside the hospital where they check your temperature, and then you also get a sticker. But what the Hanyang Hospital did is that they gave you a sticker with like the name of the day, like the date, so that if you go back like 2 days in a row, you had to do the whole thing again, and then you could not use the same sticker to go into the hospital because like Tuesday is different than Monday. And then they check your temperature, and then they give you a sticker, and then you take the form with you to the department that you're going to. So, for example, if you're going to, I don't know, get like skin treatment, then you go to that desk, the front desk, and then give it to them, because that's the desk that you will be communicating with, so they can do this. And if you have to go to multiple desks within the same hospital, you can ask them, oh, can I have it back? Otherwise, you have to fill in again the same form, and they check your temperature again. Just to make sure. So that's how they did it in the hospital, yeah.
We both said we went to the hospital for not corona-related viruses, so the hospitals are still open. Most of the appointments do still stand. And I think that might be different in Daegu, because in Seoul there are about 75 people infected as of right now. So it's not a lot. A lot of hospitals haven't been in contact with coronavirus yet. So that's why all the appointments still stand. It could be different tomorrow, next week.
That's true, but it's also that the Korean government constantly sends out text messages, and in it they warn you, if you have symptoms, do not go to a hospital, but call a number, and they will tell you what to do, where to go. So they really advise people that do have symptoms to not go to the hospital, but to go to specific locations to get tested, to avoid an outbreak in a hospital, because if in a hospital it breaks out, then things go down very quickly.
And they also have certain hospitals that you are not allowed to go to if you have those symptoms, and other hospitals that will treat you to keep a few safe hospitals for other unrelated illnesses. Okay, so the next topic is the public response to the coronavirus, and more specifically to what the government has been doing.
The government has, one of the things the government has decided to do is to close the schools, to forbid big gatherings, to like regulate the hospitals, for example, to lower the rent for like for businesses that are suffering. So the government's been doing a lot. And one of the things is in the church where patient 31 went to service, like did service, they are checking everybody that attended the church, just as a precaution to make sure that they're not sick. So the government has been testing a lot of people, and right now they're like testing
about 10,000 people
a day. Yes, and they're trying to test more people, and the number now has been like 200,000 people tested. So they're testing a lot of people, which is one of the reasons why the numbers are suddenly so high. So they're trying to do a lot to prevent the virus from spreading, but not everybody's happy with the response the government is given.
So one of the things that a lot of Korean people are not happy about is that there wasn't an immediate travel ban from China the second that the news hit about the coronavirus. People are saying that Moon Jae-in, who is the president of Korea right now, that he put the economic needs of China before his own people's health and safety. And there has actually been a petition to impeach him. As of right now, it has well over 1 million signatures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I knew the petition was happening. I didn't know
it was a lot of people. And there also has been on the 23rd of February, there was this very big demonstration, which if people are afraid of a virus, they should not be gathering in masses.
Large numbers.
Yeah, but hey.
There's another petition going on that the general public feels that patient 31 has acted very irresponsibly. And so they want to punish her for endangering the general public.
And for refusing testing.
If that's true.
She claims it's not true.
She claims it's not true. Other people claim it's true. So we don't know what's true. We do know that the petition is currently happening, that she needs to be punished, that people want her to be punished. So that's like the two petitions that are going on.
Yeah, a petition about the patient 31. The government has now decided to make a new law in which if you do have symptoms and you refuse to get tested, you get a fine, and I believe you get up to 1 year in prison. So to make sure that a case like patient 31 doesn't happen a second time, which is good. And especially the Korean government has made it such that testing is free as of right now. And if you are tested positively, treatment is also free. And they're doing that obviously to contain this as much as possible.
And to motivate people to get tested. Because if you're like not financially very stable and you have symptoms but you're not sure and the test is very expensive, of course you're not going to get tested. So the government is trying to motivate people to get tested. There's even a notice if you're illegal in Korea or like your visa expiring or like there's a reason why you technically should not be in Korea right now. Even then you're allowed to get tested and nothing will happen to you.
And it will still
it will still be free. To make sure that even people that travel to Korea illegally or like have symptoms but are afraid to get deported, that they still get tested to make sure that like everybody is safe in the end.
Because that is definitely more important than a few illegals who work here.
Yeah, exactly.
So like we said, a lot of people, almost all people are now wearing masks. And one thing that we have both noticed is that a lot of people are now selling masks online through websites such as Facebook. And
not everything is as good as it sounds. So like some companies are legit, and some people are just trying to use the situation by selling something for like a higher price than it's actually worth, and you're just receiving garbage and it's not really protecting you from anything. So be careful when you buy something, because like a lot of people need the masks, and for example you go out and you want to buy them in a convenience store, there's often like little notes on the doors that says like, oh, the masks are sold out in this store. So there's a lot of places where you can no longer buy them. And then there's companies or people that appear on Facebook and say, oh, I have a box of like 100 masks that you can buy for only this price. And then you're like, oh, that's perfect. Then I have 100 masks and I can give it to my family, and like we will be set for a while. And then you either don't get it, or the masks are really bad, or you get something completely different. And like I said, some big companies are legit, but not everybody is. So like, be careful when you buy this. If something is like seems to be good to be true, it's too good to be true.
It's too good to be true.
So there's some like really big interest in masks, and it's similar to the disinfectant pump as well. The hand sanitizers that stores. They're very hard to find, and stores like kind of like make them a little bit more expensive. or they have like, oh, if you buy this, you get this one for free.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're really like trying to use the situation, but at the same time like trying to help, and it's a like complicated.
It's a whole mess.
Yes.
The final thing that we've also already mentioned is that the government is sending a lot of text alerts. So everyone who has a Korean phone number is automatically registered with the government, and they always get some sort of alert. And I think I've been here for 2 years now, and I usually get them about once a month, maybe once every 2 months.
No, I think it's even less. Like you get them in the summer when it's really hot, and there's like a warning message that says like, "Oh, drink a lot of water, like wear sunscreen, don't go outside," things like this.
And sometimes you have the air quality.
The air quality, you get them as well, and sometimes if there's like heavy rain,
big
fire. So if there's big fire in your neighborhood. And if there's like heavy rain, like, oh, be careful, we're expecting this kind of rain. So it's like for emergency, for the Dutch people like that are watching, it's similar to an alert. So just like government text system to everybody that has a number registered.
Currently there are about, I know I get an average of 2 messages a day about there's another case that's in your neighborhood, there's another case in this, please wear a mask, please wash your hands.
Even if there's no new cases, they sometimes send these out just as a reminder.
Yeah.
And like whenever there's a new case, specifically if there's a case in your area.
Finally, we will talk a little bit about our experiences since the virus began. So obviously you no longer have school suddenly.
Yes. I was supposed to have like a free time, like holiday now anyway, but it got extended by 2 weeks. So it's been a little bit boring. Like, of course, it's nice to not have to study, not have classes.
But everything's closed.
But everything's closed. And, like, it's been 2 weeks now. I've seen the movies I want to see. I've, like, slept as long as I like to sleep. And now I just kind of want to get back into a rhythm. And I still have to wait another 2 weeks. But I've noticed this the other day. I was in a store just buying, like, general groceries. And there were so many people hogging like instant ramyeon and like instant rice and just like the food like canned
non-perishables.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've been doing that too.
I haven't started yet, but to be fair, I live very close to the grocery store, so I can just like hop in and out. So like a lot of people are just preparing for the worst to have food in the house, which is not always the healthiest stuff. But it's just interesting to see when you yourself with like a little little basket with food in it, and then you see this like old lady walking past with like this mountain of instant ramyeon in her shopping cart. So
yeah, but I've also definitely been doing that just in case I do get sick and just in case I do have to self quarantine, because I live alone, so I have no one to help me, and so I have been stocking up on non-perishables just in case I have to stay inside for 2 weeks. At least I'll have enough water and enough to eat. It'll be boring to eat noodles every day, but still, it's something.
Thank God for the internet.
For me personally, the biggest difference is obviously I have to wear these masks that are not super comfortable, and they get kind of wet.
Humid inside.
It gets really humid.
Because like you're constantly breathing, but like it stays inside. So like sometimes you can like lift it up to air it out a little bit because it's it's a thing. You have to get used to it.
But as far as being worried that I will get it, I'm not that worried because I am very young. And even if I do get it, it will probably just go away in a few weeks. So it'll be uncomfortable. But as for myself, even if I do get it, which I don't think is very likely, I'll be fine. But I don't want to become the next super spreader. So I do wear masks to keep everyone else safe. So you're welcome.
But then I noticed that people don't care as much as I cough compared to someone like an Asian person coughs. Yes,
they care a lot more.
They care a lot more that they like get stared at. Maybe it's a little bit different now with like the outbreak in Italy that they're kind of like, you're European, and it will become worse. But right now it's okay. Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it. You're not too worried about it. Please, family, friends, don't be worried. We'll be fine.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Wash your hands, but yeah, you'll be fine. Thank you very much for being here, Emma.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
And if you want to see more of her, please tell her down in the comments. And if you have any other questions, please do leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them, and I'll try to have a few articles as well linked below, just if you want to read some more about it. And yeah, that was it. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Bye bye. The virus. Hey!
Look at me.